Now that we have Alchemy installed, we're going to go ahead and license it. For this demo, I'm only going to evaluation license Alchemy. I'm going to click Activate, and what I'll do next is type in my email address. I'm going to skip the SUID because this is an evaluation and a SUID is not required, but I will click the evaluation license. I'll click Continue, and then I'll punch in my contact name, my email address, the phone number, and my decision maker title. I'm just going to put technical support. I'll click Activate, and it goes out to our activation server and enables an evaluation license on this server. I click the Accept for the license agreement, and now I can see a product feature summary. As you can see, the evaluation license is good for 30 days and gives you quite a bit so you can test. I'll click. Now I will open up Services, and because this is a virtual machine, I need to go ahead and restart the Alchemy license service. This only happens on a virtual machine. Once I do that, then I can go ahead and try the Alchemy server. If everything is licensed correctly, that should start up, as well as the LM service, the PM service, PM service takes just a little bit longer, and the conversion service. As you can see, all 5 Alchemy services are running. I'll close the Services control panel, and I'll open the Alchemy server. Shrink it down a little bit, and I'll expand it. As you can see, my server says it's running. I can look and see that my server name, along with any statistics I need. I have no databases and no connections other than what's local to the machine. Now I'm going to configure the first Alchemy database. I'm going to create a folder on the C drive and call it AlchDB. I then am going to go to the CD drive, and we do provide a test database called Total. The database comprises of a total folder along with a total ALD file. If you copy both of these two to the AlchDB directory, you will have your test Alchemy database. If you go into the total folder, there's an AUS file. That no longer needs to be there and sometimes can cause complications adding this database to Alchemy's server. I'll delete that AUS file. I'll go to the Alchemy server console, right-click, and choose Add Databases. Browse, and I'll browse to the AlchDB folder. I'll highlight the total ALD, and I'll click OK. Now the total ALD is inside the Alchemy server control. As you can see, there are statistics on that as well. I will go to the Alchemy administrator and test to make sure I can open the total database. Going to browse Alchemy server, and since the server is local, I'm going to click My Computer. As you can see, it does highlight Integrated Document Repository and the total ALD path. I click OK, and now I can see the contents of my database. Now I'm going to upgrade Alchemy server. If I go to Help and About Alchemy server, I see that we're at 9.0.100.102. which is 90SR1. I want to upgrade to SR2. So I'm going to close all of the open Alchemy applications. If you notice, this says that the MMC needs to be updated because of the version of Windows. I'll just click yes. I'm going to go and open the Services Control Panel. I'm going to stop the Alchemy server, stop the LM service, and that will stop the PM and conversion service. I'm also going to stop the Alchemy license service. I'm going to go where I downloaded 90SR2. I'm going to double click it. And I'm going to run through the install. This is a small patch, so it shouldn't take more than a few minutes. As you can see, it's just like a patch from any other wizard. I'm going to click Update. I'm going to leave this username blank and click Next. I'm also not going to publish the server either and click Next. Now I'm going to click Install and let the install run through its course. When the install is complete, you can go ahead and click Finish, and if you're prompted to reboot, go ahead and click Yes. After the reboot, we will go ahead and check to see that the Windows services for Alchemy started correctly. If you notice, all 5 services have started correctly after the reboot. Now I'm going to go check the Alchemy server console to make sure that it's reporting the correct version of Alchemy. I open the Alchemy server, help about Alchemy server, and you can see our version changed. I'm also going to open a client such as administrator to make sure that we can see the contents of the database. Looks like the Office documents are popping up, like some Word documents, some Excel spreadsheets. I'm going to look at some TIFF images. I'm going to look at some color images such as GIFs, bitmaps, JPEGs. And I'm going to click on the big one, Adobe. If you see, Adobe is requiring us to install the Alchemy plugin. The program does that in the background and installs the Alchemy plugin, so now we have Adobe integrated into our client. Any PDF that's clicked on opens an instance of Adobe in the background. Now we will close the client and we're going to go to make sure that the databases are enabled on the web. This is for the Alchemy web applications. I drill down to Alchemy servers and I right click and add the server name. Type in the name and click OK. As you can see, by default, databases are disabled. You can see the path and the title. If I right-click on the database, I can choose Enable. So now, when I open Internet Explorer, I'm going to type the following address: http://localhost/Alchemy web. As you can see, the upgrade did something to the web config file. It's telling us there's an additional line that does not belong there in the web config. Where do we find the web config? It's right here under the Program Files Capteris web application. Going to close IE, go to where the web config exists, scroll down, and I can see a file called web. I'm not sure if that's web config, so let me go ahead and enable extensions on files. So I'm going to uncheck hide extensions for known file types, And there we have web.config. This is where I love Notepad++. Right-click, edit with Notepad++, and remember our line number? It was 74. We'll go down to 74, and we'll see that's the exact line. We'll click on the number 74, and it highlights the entire line. We'll hit the delete key once, and now the line's gone. We'll save our changes, close, and then we'll go to IIS. Once IIS opens up, we'll highlight the server name, and on the right-hand side, we'll click Restart under Manage Server. That restart is pretty quick. We'll close that, and then we'll go back to Internet Explorer and try the Alchemy website again. Now we can see the Alchemy web open up. For newer versions of IE, there's a compatibility view. Alchemy web works best when this view is turned on. So we'll go ahead and turn that on, and then we'll click through some documents to make sure that we can view it. Looks like the documents are filling up fine, and as you can see, all the Office documents will convert to PDF. We'll open up a PDF and you can see the same thing. We're going to log out, and now we'll go ahead and try the new Silverlight, which is Alchemy Web Client. Once we hit the web client, you can see that if we do not have Silverlight installed, we need to install it. I'll click on it, I'll choose Run, and it goes out to Microsoft and downloads the latest version for my OS. I'm going to run the install. Now we'll begin installing Silverlight. Click on Install Now and let this installation continue to install. I'll click the Close button, and now you can see the new Alchemy Web Client application is open. I'll double-click all databases, and this may take about a minute to load and all the configuration from Alchemy Server. Now that the database is loaded, I'll double-click on the database. And as you can see, the contents of the database are now viewable. I'll go ahead and click on an XLS and expand the Alchemy Web Viewer. As you can see, the document pops up. I'll go ahead and try some other formats. Here's a TIFF image. I'll try a PDF. Everything seems to be functional in the web client. Now we'll go ahead and configure the file connector. I'll close IE, and I'm going to do some configuration on the machine. One thing File Connector requires is a database be under Library Services. So we'll take our existing database, right-click on it, and choose Add to Library Services. Now we can see Library Services is on. We'll also go to the control panel of the computer, go to Internet Options, click on Connections, and choose LAN Settings. Uncheck Automatically Detect Settings. This can cause issues when dealing with WebDAV shares, which is what File Connector uses. Now I'll go to the Services Control Panel, and remember we installed Desktop Experience, which gave us a service called Web Client. Web Client allows you to browse WebDAV shares. So we'll double click, we'll choose Automatic for Startup, and then we'll start it up. As you can see, it starts. We'll click OK. And now we'll test our Alchemy File Connector share. We'll go to Start, Run, / localhost, / the name of the Alchemy File Connector. In our case, it was by default. We left it. Click OK, and Windows Explorer pops up. Now we can see the contents of our file connector. As you can see, this is our Alchemy database. However, Because we do not have file connector client capabilities on a server OS, we can't see the Alchemy database icons. Or when we right-click, we don't have an Alchemy file connector client menu. So this is as best we can do to test our Alchemy file connector from a server. This concludes the video series of Alchemy server installations. We hope that these videos will help you with your next installation of Alchemy server applications. Take care.